Over the last week, a lot of people have been talking crap about me personally on Garden Talk and in social media generally. Because I promote high quality, rigorous research from organizations like SARE, the Sustainable Agriculture and Research Education Projects Group, promoting cardboard sheet mulching for soil health, weed suppression, profitability, and more importantly, reducing the overall chemical and contamination load in our gardens and food systems, especially of things like PFAS and dioxin. That's right. The main reason people do cardboard sheet mulching is to reduce the overall chemical contamination of their gardens and food. The reason we use it is because it allows us to replace methods and materials that are proven in good quality research to have a much higher footprint and contribute more contamination to our food. And this blog provides us with some data to demonstrate how that harm reduction works. Yes, this blog with the tabloid sensationalistic headline that has caused this whole viral hoax. First, a lot of people sharing this are calling it peer-reviewed research. I'm seeing this dozens of times on videos and TikTok. Guys, this is literally a blog. This is not a peer-reviewed study. Now, the blog post makes the claim that corrugated cardboard contains environmental contaminants including dioxin, PFAS, or forever chemicals. But the author backs the claim with this chart that actually demonstrates the exact opposite. It's a study about chicken litter. Yes, the conclusions of the study were reviewed by peer reviewers and published in a scientific journal, but none of those people, the authors or the peer reviewers, ever intended this data to be used to back the claim that this author, the blogger, is using them to claim. Since this blogger began making that claim a few years ago, a lot of people have pointed out to her that using this measure of shredded cardboard is really kind of dishonest and not a very accurate portrayal of what's in corrugated shipping boxes. Really good reasons to think that this has a lot more contaminants than those boxes. But let's take it at face value anyway and use it as a worst case scenario because it still proves that the sheet mulching reduces contamination risk. The things she's talking about a lot are the PFAS risk in particular, and these are actually her highlights. You see, the shredded cardboard gets a rating of 15 units per kilogram of PFAS. Now, the authors understood that like everything is contaminated these days, so they did a control material which were unused wood shavings, which the blogger has equated to wood chips. This gets a rating of 6.3. Okay, math nerds, you see the mistake everybody's making? They're looking at the raw numbers and saying that the shredded cardboard material contains about twice as much PFAS. Remember, this is why we teach students in school not to pull data out of context, because just looking at the raw data can often cause us to make mistakes. And here we see the value of cardboard for reducing contamination. Because in a sheet mulch, the cardboard layer is really thin and the mulch layer is a lot thicker. The blog author recommends 12 inches of wood chips, for example. So in order for the cardboard to contribute twice as much PFAS as people are claiming, you'd need a 12-inch layer of cardboard. You'd need a 6-inch layer of cardboard just to equal the amount in these wood chips. In reality, we use the cardboard because it allows us to get away with 2 to 4 inches of wood chips or mulch material instead of 12 inches. If we're using a quarter of the material, it allows us to divide this number by a quarter. So sheet mulching with cardboard, according to this data, reduces the overall PFAS load. But wait, now that you got the idea, it's actually even a lot better than that. Because this isn't PFAS for volume, it's PFAS for weight. Say that 10 times fast. You may have noticed that cardboard weighs a lot less than wood chips. According to Google, the chips weigh about 22 pounds per square foot, which sounds about right to me. And the cardboard weighs 0.02 pounds per square foot, which also sounds about right. It would require a bunch of decimal points to even bother adding the PFAS contributed by the cardboard layer. I've been saying this about this for years, and a lot of data science people have been saying, oh yeah, you're right, this is a big math mistake. And nobody's ever said I'm wrong. Instead, they just attack me and say I work for the cardboard industry and stuff like that. Now, take this, like any other analysis you've seen of this, with a big grain of salt, because it's a real stretch to pull this data out of context from a chicken study to make a statement about sheet mulch. But since exactly that has gone super viral, we should at least get the math right. And for the record, the claims made about sheet mulch affecting soil health were equally misleading. The study didn't actually even test sheet mulch. And it wasn't a field study that demonstrated any real-world negative impacts on soil health. It was a lab study that just tested cardboard alone. And as those SARE studies I talked about, and sheet mulch proponents like Ruth Stout, Bill Molson, Toby Hemingway, myself all point out, along with Hammond paper, Brown cardboard in sheet mulch biodegrades quickly within 3 months. So it's really misleading to say that a lab test of cardboard alone applies to sheet mulch in the real world. People in certain circles have gotten so worked up over this issue emotionally that they're openly considering it like a battle. And with tabloid headlines like this, which, come on, guys, you remember from school, responsible scientists don't make absolute claims and use sensationalistic headlines like this. This has created such a toxic environment that people are relying on name calling, pulling data out of context, misrepresenting studies, and making basic data and math mistakes. They've created a toxic environment where